Hello and welcome back to the channel. So this video is about, I had an idea to do a few videos about malts, grains for brewing, not just for brewing, but about understanding grains that go into the beer. I mean, beer is basically made up of mainly water, so you have to have good water. You can balance the salt in that as a home brewer. Obviously commercial brewers do that as well. There's such thing as Bertinisation, so Bertinising the water to try and get the profile of the water of Burton, which many moons ago was desired. It still is now. Even in America they go for Bertinising the water. And then you've got water, you've got the malt, the raw ingredient, you've got hops, you've got yeast, then you have beer, and then you can have other agents as well to be added to that. But the series I wanted to do was around the malts, the grains that I use, especially in home brewing, and to explain the different types of malts. So these, sorry that's the kettle, that is going to be part of the video though. These base malts, which consist of barley, pilsner, pale malt, 2 rows, there's a 6-row pale malt, Vienna malt, Munich malt, and then you've got other ones which are wheat malts, rye malts, and I also use a lot of heritage malts. I've got Chevalier, Wyman's, Bart Pilsner, Plumage Archer, and there's one more, I can't quite, oh Hannah, there's another Pilsner malt. So they're the base malts. And then you have specialty malts. Specialty malts, again, that they basically the purpose of specialty malt is to provide some colour, some additional flavours. They have more proteins in specialty malts, and that can bring more body to the beer and also head retention. So that's specialty malts. And then within specialty malts, you can break them down again. You've got, well, we've got here caramel crystal malts. You've got roasted malts, and you've got flaked and unmalted adjuncts, really, grains. So I'm going to do separate videos for each of them. The base malt, which is this is the first one, I'm going to split this into 2 because there's quite a few base malts, and the idea is that I want to look at the actual raw grain, the crushed grain, tasting it. They do say the best way to build a recipe is actually to taste the grain, and that should give you an idea of what that grain is going to deliver. So I'm going to taste the grain, say what, if anything at all, and then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to steep it in one of these like milk frothers. So you can put the grain in, put the water in, which was the kettle, about 68 degrees, let it steep. You can see the colour that grain will bring, and also have a little taste of it. So that's going to be, part of this video as well. So this is part 1. This is going to be 3 lots of malts we're looking at in this one. We're looking at Maris Otter, Golden Promise, and just pale ale, pale UK 2-row pale malt. So look at them 3, and as the series goes on we'll be looking at more. So there'll be more base malts, then we'll go on to the specialty malts, heritage malts, and we'll just keep looking at that. And the same process will be tasting, steeping, looking at the colour, tasting that liquor as well, and seeing what it brings. Just a bit more on base malts. So base malt is generally 80 to 100% of your grain bill, your mash. 100% is like a single malt, which I'm doing at the moment, a single malt and single hop series brew. The Maris Otter, they say that flavour can bring mild malty flavours, slight nuttiness, it says here. Maris Otter adds slight more body to a beer than maybe pale malt or Golden Promise. And then you've got Golden Promise malt, that's sweet, robust malt flavours. It says notable caramel notes. Compared to Maris Otter, that is. And then you've got pale malt, which is just simple and clean malt flavour. Okay, so let's try let's try the taste test first of all on the Maris Otter. To be honest, with the smell, it just smells biscuity, like a biscuity malt. You know, don't what more to say about that taste. It's like, tasting it that way, you can see the backbone of where beers. That Maris Otter, it's got a real deep biscuity note there. A bit like a cookie. You can imagine a cookie dough. It's got that sort of flavouring. It's quite pleasant. Bready. Slight sweetness, and I do get that nuttiness. It's really quite pleasant. If you haven't tried it, just try this with some grains. You'll be amazed at the flavours you get. And you can associate that then with the beers. That's pleasant. What I didn't get was a little glass to put some water in so I can move on. Okay, so Maris Otter, bready, cookie dough, biscuity, sweetness, nuttiness for sure. Golden Promise. Let's try this one. Falls like a mouth. Bit tougher to chew this one. Ooh, what's that? Definitely sweet. Not as cookie dough. Not as, I won't say it's as biscuity. Definitely sweet. It's a bit like a, this is going to sound strange, like a sugar puff taste. Don't know how you'd explain that. But that's what I'm getting, like a sugar puff. It's sweet. Slight biscuit, but not as biscuity as the Maris Otter was. Yeah, very much a sweetness coming from that malt, and then that underlying biscuitness. So just going off this, the Maris Otter is more biscuity for sure. The Golden Promise is sweeter than the Maris Otter. The Maris Otter seems to be a bit more complex with flavours. But that Golden Promise seems like it's going to be a good baseline. Maybe a bit honey, sort of. Honey sweetness. That's nice as well. That's pleasant. Okay. Let's try the standard pale ale. Spilt water down me now. Where I was getting cookie dough with a Maris Otter, this is more digestive. It's quite, yeah, it's like a blend between the two. It's like it's very similar. If I imagine putting Maris Otter and Golden Promise in together, that's what the Turo UK Pale tastes like. So there's a subtle sweetness, there's definitely some biscuit there, a little bit bready as well. It's actually unbelievable, all three doing that taste different. So it's going to be interesting now when I steep them. So what I'll do, I'll steep them at 68 degrees, come back, show you in the glass and taste them again and see if that's got any sort of different flavours. Okay, I'll pause this at this point. I'll see you again in a minute. Hello and welcome back. So we've steeped the grains, we've let them sit for about 45 minutes. They're at a decent temperature now for tasting. So let's start. So first of all, that's the Marisotta steeped. I'll bring them all over. Got the Marisotta. That's the Golden Promise. And this is the straight up pale. So I'll put a little video up, but you can see there is a difference between the three slightly. The Marisotta seems to be a little slightly darker, so that's the Marisotta. Slightly darker, can't really tell on the camera, than the Golden Promise. And then you can see the pale malt. Pale is again even lighter. So let's go straight away. Let's have a taste of the Marisotta, see if flavours that I was getting from the actual grain follow through into the actual. Well, that's work now, isn't it? Let's see. It does. It's become a little bit more bready now. It's nice, bready. Biscuit still there, definitely biscuit. Yeah, that sweetness is there, which you'd expect anyway because it's steeped in that water. Yeah, so it's really biscuit forward. It's quite a lot of biscuit, malty biscuit, bready for that Marisotta. That's a Marisotta. Let's just. Then we've got the Golden Promise. It's quite hard to get something off your arm, if I'm totally honest. Okay, that's slightly changed from the grain. Slightly. It's not as sweet as it was when I was having it just with the grain, and there's a nice. There's a really nice grainy, malty flavour to that as well. Totally different. Again, the biscuit is more muted on this, but I'm still getting what I would class as like that sugar puff taste. That's really good as well. That really is good. So the Marisotta is more biscuit, bready. This has got taste a little bit more sweet than the Marisotta. And if you've had sugar puffs, you'll know what I mean by that sugar puff taste. It's that puff barley taste. It's interesting. It really is interesting. And go for the last one. Pale malt. UK pale malt. Yeah. It's still this is like a blend of them two, but muted. So it's like them two, but more muted. The Marisotta is the one that stands out with most flavour for me. Then the Golden Promise, and then this one is like both of them, but muted. So you can imagine that is like a clear canvas and to build on, where the Marisotta has already got that biscuity, bready notes. This is just, it's there, but muted. The sweetness is there, but it's muted. Where the Golden Promise is a lot sweeter than both of them. That's really interesting. Obviously a bit grainy. But yeah, that is really quite interesting. So that's them three grains. They're three base malts. Marisotta, Golden Promise, and then you've got the UK pale malt. So, sorry, let's drop something on it. Whoa. So, to go and try these in commercial beers, I had a look to see which commercial beers that you may know of, where you could go and sort of see if you can pick up on these notes. So for Marisotta, Siren Broken Dreams, which will be tough to pull out because it's a dark beer, because it's going to have specialty malts. Siren Soundwave IPA is another one with Marisotta. St. Austell's Big Job, is Marisotta. Thornbridge Jaipur is Marisotta. And Oakham Citra is Marisotta. That's their base malts in them beers. Golden Promise, a bit tougher to find. Verdant use it. Putty is one, but obviously I think a few of their beers may have the Golden Promise. Timothy Taylor Landlord, Golden Promise malt base. Ilkley, they use it in their Promise Golden Ale. So yeah, they're a bit more difficult to find, the Golden Promise ones. And the pale malt, well, big one, classic one there. I mean, it's it's a US pale, but it's a 2-row, which is very similar to the UK 2-row. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Then you've got in the UK Salt Hookerback and Vocation Roll With It. So they all use 2-row, like extra pale malts. So yeah, so if you go and have a look, if you want to, see if you can tell the differences. See if the, is a St Austell Big Job bit more bready and biscuity than a Timothy Taylor Landlord. Yeah, you could look at that. Is a Timothy Taylor a bit more sweeter than the Big Job? I don't know. I've not tasted them myself that way, but after doing this, I may do that. But I just thought, just for you guys out there, guys and girls, sorry, you can go and have a taste test and see what you think. Okay, so the next one will be part 2 of the base malts. We'll have like, let me get the box. There's lots of malts in here. So we'll have Munich, we'll have rye, we'll have Vienna, and we'll have wheat in the next one. So there'll be 4 to taste, and I'll do the same process, and we'll go on from there. Then we'll move into we'll move into heritage malts, because they're base malts. Then we'll move into specialty malts, and you can see I've got quite a box of malts to get through here. Okay, well, just say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.